Okay, we're here in Zurich, in the old city, at one of the great historical treasures. There was a Rishon who lived in Zurich. Believe it or not, there was a Rishon who lived in Zurich. His name was Rabbi Moshe of Zurich. Actually, the famous sefer of the Smak of Rabbi Yitzchak of Korbel. Rabbi Yitzchak of Korbel wrote the Smak, Sefer Mitzvahs Katan. And then you have the Smak of Zurich. Smak Zurich. What does it mean, Smak Zurich? The Chida writes in the Shem HaGedolim that the Smak wanted his sefer to be the official text of the Jewish people, from which Klal Yisrael could learn all the mitzvahs. So he sent to all the Kehillas throughout the Jewish world that they should print his sefer at the expense of the Kehillah. The sefer should be owned by the Kehillah, and everybody would learn it. If anybody wanted, they could borrow the sefer. So each community had their version of the Smak, which means that many communities saw that they had maybe a difference of opinion with the Smak. So they would each community would write on the bottom of the Smak their halachos, their minhagim. So each city's Smak came along with their particular minhagim. Here in Zurich, the leader was Rav Moshe of Zurich, and he was born in the 14th century, somewhere around 1310 or 1324, difference of opinions. And he was the Paisek of this city, a Rishon. According to many, he was related to the Maharil. Maharil is the backbone of Minhag Ashkenaz. And he had his notes on the Smak. Today's Smak, you could get a version printed with Smak Zurich, which means the Smak of Rav Moshe of Zurich, his Hagois. So just to share, because we're actually at the location of his Beis Medrash. Up here you'll see the plaque, and our good friend Rav Pinchas Koronik is going to translate the plaque for us, but we're at the location of the original Beis Medrash of the Smak Zurich, which means Rav Moshe of Zurich, a Rishon from the 14th century. So he writes, it's well known, the Smak, very first mitzvah in the Torah is the mitzvah of Anochi Hashem Elokecha Asher Hotzei Me'eretz Mitzrayim, where the Smak is Mechadesh. That part of that mitzvah is to be mitzapeh liyeshua. The same way you have to believe Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim, we have to believe that Hashem will redeem us from the current galus. So on the bottom, the Hagois Smak Zurich writes, how does this mitzvah encompass tzipis liyeshua? Because since it's a dibur, it's one of the aseres hadibros, which means it's a command. What are we being commanded to do? It must be we're being commanded to be mitzapeh liyeshua. So it's a great zechus to be here. This is the Beis Medrash of Smak Zurich, Rav Moshe of Zurich, one of the great Rishonim of the 14th century.
So I'm giving you guys a short version, a transliterated short version of the plaque, which coincides also a lot with what Rav already said. It says, in the late Middle Ages, that most Jews lived in this neighborhood on the Froschaugasse, and across the street, the Brunnengasse here in Zurich. And their synagogue is documented, which is just behind of us. It's called the Judenschule, Schule as in school or Schul, or whatever you want to say it, on Burghof. And that's what we see right here. It also documents that the Jewish cemetery is just out the Lindentor, which is behind us, a bit above us. In 1342, the Rabbi Moshe, the so-called Smak of Zurich, has written that it's documented that he has written this extension to the well-known Smak, and the high side of the Jewish community found an end in 1349 when most Jews were captured, tortured, and then burned or were expelled out of Zurich. That was during the pest and during the accusations of the poisoning of the wells all over Central Europe. And shortly afterwards, the Jews were allowed back in, but in 1436, the Jews of Zurich and most of the rest of the country were expelled for good out of the country and were only allowed to live in two little villages nearby until 1462, when the constitution was renewed. 1862 that was. So we were out for a good 450 years, not allowed to live where we are allowed to live now.
Wow.
So that's
Thank you very much. So in this place where the Jews burnt at the stake here, in this location?
that probably documented at the Beis where we were before.
Okay. Tehi nishmasam tzura b'tzarachai.